Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. Okay, so in this session, what we're going to do is we're going to prepare our interface so that it accommodates both the rendering and the further modeling requirements that we will be facing as we move forward. So the first thing first is we're going to be rendering this speaker in Redshift. Redshift comes naturally with Maxon. So once you purchase Maxon Cinema 4D, you also get Redshift. So we do have other options. We can go with Octane, or we can go with Isidium's Cycles 4D, but for the purpose, or Corona or V-Ray, Cinema 4D supports all those other render engines. But instead of that, we'll just use the one that comes with Cinema 4D itself, which is Redshift. Now, if you look at the menu, Redshift is located right here. And if you scroll down, there's a lot of things that come with Redshift. Here. So you've got the objects, you've got lights, you've got cameras, and you have materials. The moment you install the Cinema 4D application, all the materials that you will find by clicking this icon here, which is the material manager, all of the materials that you create here are actual Redshift materials. Okay, so you can pretty much go here and click any of these and you will get the Redshift materials. So if you go ahead and click material, you get RS right in front of it, which indicates it's a Redshift material. Okay, so let's remove that material for the time being. Okay, now what's the best way to set up our working environment, our workbench? So first of all, let's ensure that we actually have some view to the render, right? So the way we're going to do that is simply just by going over here. We can click the render view here. And once we do so, you will see the render view appear right in the middle of the screen. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that it's actually inside our viewport, and the way we can go about doing that is simply by clicking the render view and grabbing the hamburger icon on the left hand side, dragging it, and as you drag it, various parts of the actual screen highlight. Now let me move this particular screen so you can actually see a little bit better. So if you grab that hamburger icon and move it here, just between the viewport and the material manager, it will appear right there, which is kind of convenient because you can scale it up and down and still have some visibility of what you're rendering as you're going about rendering. And on the right hand side, you can see your material manager is right here, which is fine because you're going to have a lot of material, so it's okay to have it vertically located there. But also you want your lights located somewhere. So if you go over here and you click lights, and if you grab the two dotted lines, see the horizontal lines that are there, if you grab that, you can drag it and move it to the right. Now I like to have my lights located right where the objects are, so I like to have them right here. So as I'm adding lights, I can see what I want to add and just plug it in there. So it's quite handy to have it there. Let me just remove that light for the time being, and that's it. So now, so you have your render view here. So if we go to your 4 view, you've got all your 4 views here. It's a little bit cramped. The real estate is very, very small. Now, the bigger the screen you have, obviously the better it is. But yeah, if you don't want to see any of your screens, you can always remove it and you'll expand back. But this is a viewport that I like to work from, and I encourage you to create your own if you like. Now, the way you go about saving this viewport is once you've found the viewport that you wish to work off, you just go here on the top right hand corner, and there's a option here that says Save Layout As. So once you click that, you can save the layout anywhere you wish. So if I go ahead and save this one, I can call this the course layout. Click OK. Now I've got the course layout. So I've got different versions of layouts. I've got an Octane layout, I've got a Cycles 4D layout, I've got a Redshift layout with materials. So I've got various different layouts Now this is the Octane one, this is the Redshift one, and you can always go back to your standard, right? So the one that we just did was just a course layout, which is this one here, which is the same as my Redshift layout. So I don't particularly need this one anymore, so I can remove that one a little bit later. But for now, I've got that one and this one. So now if I am working from the standard model layout like this, if I want to see what's happening with the renders, I can just go to my new course layout, and you'll lay it out like this, and then I can have a look at the viewport and make sure that I'm rendering everything correctly. Now, how do you go about rendering? Okay, so now let me just open this. Let me just move this to the side. Okay, here we go. And expand this window. So now if you hold Alt and the middle mouse button, you can move your render view any which way you like. So if you go ahead and click the play button, this will start and stop the IPR, which is your render engine. So now this is what Redshift is rendering at the moment. There are no materials, there's no lights, but it's giving you a little bit of a view as to what it is that we are looking at the moment. So the first things first is to put a plane in there and put something that we want to basically have the object sit on. So if we go over here to the right hand side and we click plane, it would add a plane like that, nothing sophisticated, nothing fantastic, and you can change the width of the plane, length of the plane, and so forth. So we'll leave it at 400, why not? And you can change the segments of it and so forth. Now let's give the plane some sort of material. So let's just go over here, let's go to the material, Redshift material, and simply grab the material, drag and drop it onto the plane. So now you should have the plane there, and you can see that the Redshift is rendering at the moment. And that's the plane that Redshift has rendered. So it's not sitting there in a dark place. It's actually got some sort of texture on it. Now the other thing is that let's add a little bit of light. So let's go ahead and hit area light. So now we've got a light that's really intense, and it's located right here in the middle of the plane. So it's 0, 0, 0 XYZ. So we're going to grab the y-axis arrow, move it up, grab the z-axis, pull it back, and you can see there's quite a lot of intense light happening. So let's put it right back. Alt, left mouse button, and what we can do is shift around and have a look at the size of the light. As you can see here, it's quite big. So let's just reduce the intensity first. Around about 30 should be fine. And you can see the little object is right there. And also rise it up so it's not touching the plane, and angle it. So hit R for rotate. We'll rotate it down a little bit so it's looking down on the speaker. So let's just go in a little bit. Alt, left mouse button, scroll in, and you can see here how it looks there on the render. Right, looks okay. Right now we haven't added any textures. It's not that exciting at the minute, but it does give you a little bit of a view. Now this is what we're going to call the key light, and then what we're going to add is a fill light, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to add another area light. Okay, they're very large at the moment, so hit E for up, E for move, and move the object up. We are going to scale this a little bit so it's not so big, so it's going to scale it down and maybe make it yeah, we'll scale it down, that's fine. We'll just keep it at that and rotate, and we're going to turn it all the way around. Let's go to mode, object, coordinates, and 180 was what we moved it to, so it's nice and linear. So now what we're going to do is bring the light down and push it out a little bit, give it a little bit of a backlight so that no, we're going to do first the fill light, that's right, this said first the fill light. So let's just rotate it a little bit, and position it there. So let's just go back and have a look how that looks. Okay, so it's quite a lot of light going on here. Let's go back to the lighting system and let's name them. So the RS area light, let's give that a name first. We're just going to add dot key. And here we're just going to add dot fill. Okay. And let me just see what kind of shadow I'm getting from this one. Yeah, okay, that's okay. That's good. And let me look at the intensity of this light. It's 100, so let's reduce that down a little bit as well. So it's not so heavy, so it gives a bit more dramatic look for the lighting. Now the fill light, I believe, was about 30. So the key light was 30. The fill light is 1.7. Let's give it something like a 10. And what we're going to do next is add another light, and this is going to be our backlight. Now the backlight, purpose of the backlight is just to basically give the object that we're shining to basically have a little bit of shape as well, so it's not sitting there and you're not quite sure whether or not the particular edges finish or not. So you want to be able to have something at the back. Okay, let's go back to mode, object, coordinates, and -180. So let's also reduce the size so it's not so big. Okay, and undo. Yeah. Okay, I've got my scale on, so let's just scale it back down. Okay, and the move. There we go. So now we should technically be in a good place. Let me see. Oh, there we go. All right, that's good. Now that's the rear of the object. So what we can do is probably turn everything around. But for now, that's okay. We can still use this as the front as well. So it's not too bad because we've got a lot of light happening from all angles, which is excellent. So that's what that's doing at the moment. So let me just move the screen. So that's it. Now let me go back to the key light. The key light object, it's 30. Acceptable, fill 10, and the backlight is 100. Let's drop that down to maybe 10. Okay, that should be good for us for the time being. Now we're going to come back and revisit lighting. This is just to basically give it a little bit more of light. So as we are working on it, we can cross-check how things are looking in the viewport. So it's an iterative process. Modeling usually is, if you do just modeling and you don't see what's happening in the viewport, then by the time you finish modeling and you make some key decisions on your models, you want to avoid going back, especially if you break the non-destructive pattern. It's much harder to go back. So it's always good to have a perspective of what you're building by looking at the viewport once in a while. So as you add things onto the model, you go to the viewport and check it and so forth. Now, if you don't want this viewport, you can always just go back to standard and reset it, and then just go in and out of the model view and the viewport. So now the only other thing that we need to do is also add a camera. So if we go to Redshift, we also have objects. We have cameras. So if you've got the camera one, we can just grab this and move it also right there or anywhere really. We can sort of decide where we want to move it. I like to sort of have it close to my lights. So I've got all the different cameras, and I also have the lights here. So that's it, folks. So now next it's all about adding some details to the model and continuing with our efforts as we're moving forward in making our speaker.